Agent 57, what's up, brother? Hope you are having a fantastic Sunday. Well, that's awesome, man. I had kind of an impromptu one. Well, yeah, it's yesterday. My brother was out of town, so I was taking care of my mom. That's why we didn't have a stream last night. And I was just checking on her and making sure everything was good. So glad to hear you had a good Mother's Day. Hey, Chris, what's up, man? Hmm. Right, I think I've got everything nice and set up that we need for tonight. Hmm. Alright, it's about that time. See if I can connect to this server real quick. Oh, that's not working. Alright, well, let's go ahead and kick it off. Where's the button? I know there's a button here. There it is. Woot. Well, that's not right. Why is it all... I was tinkering with some of the OBS settings earlier. Okay, so that does... So OPSEC mode does still work. It was all kinds of a little busted earlier. Alright. Good. Good. Let's tinker with stuff. When the soundtrack switched to jazz? It's always been in there. That's not a jazz. That was a lo-fi. I think that might have been from the Red Siege guys. Alright, I'm double checking something real quick here because I was looking at the Ludus range. So when I looked at the Ludus range, the ADCS server did not deploy. And I forgot about that, and I redeployed it. I wiped it after we fixed the Windows Server caching issue. I blew the lab away and redeployed it. So now I'm trying to see if it properly did this. Let's see. But I gotta remember what I remember what the login is. I think it's this. I think that's it. Let me see if that'll work. Alright, I think that worked. Let's see. Hey, there we go. Okay. We'll give this a second to kind of fire up. Alright, I need to duplicate some of these real quick. Because what I'm working on is setting up connections over into the Ludus lab. Oh, I just noticed my microphone is like not pointed correctly. That's why it sounds so off. There we go. All right, where's duplicate? What was our next server in here? Give me 1 sec. I'm setting up a couple connections real quick in here. So this will be domain controller. And what was the IP address of that? The domain controller is 1010. Oh, you're killing me. Alright, I'll just do it that way. I want to hop into the domain controller, we'll make sure it's all good. Alright, so this one's looking good because it's got the proper Ludus background. Okay, good. There we go. Cert server did come up with this. Certificate Authority app. Let me see if this loads. What is this error? I don't know why it is failing to deploy the the Active Directory certificate service on here. For some reason. Error file not found. What error is this? Win32 file not found when loading it up. Is it doing this because... Let me check something in here real quick. Let's pull the terminal. Is cert util like not on this box? No, cert util is there. We see the Ludus CA. Hey, because here's the error that came up. Here's what I was looking at real fast. So up here it says change name true command cert util config set registration policy edit flags delta. But the standard out is, hey, in fact, that's the exact same one we just got. So why is this saying that this is not working? Let's see what's up with this. Because I would like to get this up and running here in just a second. Let's just search for the error in here. So what we were trying to run, the actual command it was running is cert util config. And this one, it said cert util set reg. So I can blow this up a little bit bigger here. There we go. There's set reg right there. Set registry value. This is so wild. Like, there's nothing to show for this. Like, it's weird because, like, if we come and we just run cert util, we see we've got a config setup where, hey, here's Ludus, here's the rest of the stuff in here. And the rest of the deployment is just failing for some reason. Oh, Wiz, this is just one browser. This is just one browser. There's this one. Let me see. What else do I have over here? Let's see. Then there's a second browser with all sorts of other stuff set up in here. This was from the news stream. I guess I can close this one. But then, like, I've got this one over here. Right? This one. All these tabs. And that's just one of, just on this screen. And then there's another one right here. So just on this screen alone, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And each of them have multiple tabs open. And this is just one virtual desktop. I am so bad about hoarding tabs, man. Dude, and it happens all the time. I was just, let's see. So this past week, I took another training course with Jason Haddix, and I had a good time there. And we were joking about that too, because he's sharing his screen and he's got, you know, a bajillion tabs open. And he and I are of the same opinion. All the tabs are things I'm going to look at later. In actuality, there are things I'm going to completely ignore because I'm going to go off and do something else. And then finally going to be like, my God, I have so many tabs open, and I'll just wipe them all. Yeah. Yeah. So I'm not alone. I'm not the only tab hoarder. Also, hey, Ford, what's up, dude? Restore session. No. Let me go look at something real quick. Ludus ADCS Ansible role. I want to see where it's actually doing this. Actually, so let's go look at issues real quick. We'll look at the closed issues in here. Was anybody else running across this? No, nothing with that. Okay, so that's just it. Because what I want to search for is... Where is it? This part right here. Cert util set reg. Why is that not coming up? I think it's going to be like this. Cert util... Yeah, I believe this is the one. So the actual command it's doing is set reg policy edit flags edit if attribute subject name 2. Actually, there's 3 different ones in here. So this one was edit flags. So it's actually, oh, here we go. This is the one we actually want. Right here. So for some reason, this one is failing. So I'm going to just try and run it manually. We'll see what happens. Let's see. Here we go. Here's the actual command it needs. Yeah, I don't know why it's attribute subject name 2. Let's go try running this on the cert server real quick. We'll see what happens. Oh, damn it. It copied the new line. File not found. And that's exactly what it came back with. Hold on, let me try something real quick. I wonder if we take this out right here. That's so wild because we have this certificate authority set up right here. You also need a dozen notepads and editor tabs. Bro, I'm even worse than that because I have different text editors for different tasks. So I'll typically have at least Notepad and VS Code up. And then I'll have whatever note-taking app I'm using during a penetration test. And typically one other one that's for I don't know what, for like special purpose use. I just have a ton of them up. I have problems. I fully admit this. Let me see why this command is failing over here. God, stop scrolling. There we go. So what is going on here? There we go. I'm going to toss this one over to Grokakis real quick. I just want to see what it says. This is cert server. CA named Ludus CA. That's correct though. So the two errors that it said it could possibly be is that cert server is either not showing up correctly or Ludus CA is not showing up correctly. Let's go hop over to the domain controller real quick then. Let's see. Because I've not had to... So I'm trying to do this with Ludus because I've not had to go through and set up all of these by hand before. All the Active Directory, certificate service, exploits. So... Gonna get those tabs. Gotta save up for them. I know, right? Let me look at something again real quick. So this configuration is happening here. Let me go back a little bit. This is in the main one right here. Task main. Hold on, let me go back here. Let's see. Tasks. There's main. And then what was this one? It was like edit if attribute. Here we go. This is the one. Edit if attribute name 2. Let me try one more thing here. I don't know why it's failing though, so we'll see if we can get this fixed up real quick so we can have a proper working lab. Win32 error, file not found. Let's see. Let me look at something over on the domain controller. Can we see cert server from the domain controller's point of view? Actually, hold on. Easy way to find this out. Okay, we see it joined to the domain. Login server DC01. So the machine is logged in. So this should be fine. Blow this up. Okay. Ping cert server. Okay, cool. That came back. That's no problem. And from here, let's try this again. Cert. Okay, we do have cert util. And if we do, let's see, ping, config, should be cert server, Ludus CA. Is that the issue? So what is going on with the certificate server? Why is it not deploying properly? The Mac is in the house. What's up, Bobby? I missed you guys last night. I actually thought about trying to do maybe just like an IRL stream from my phone, but my mom's internet is just like a half step up above dial-up. It's so bad. My watch later queue could star in the next season of Hoarders. Yeah. I'm real bad about that too. Like if you look at my watch later queue on YouTube, it's like 200 videos long. And like, I'll get to them eventually. I look back and I'm like, oh crap, that video came out in like 2021 or something. It's just horrible. Horrible. Is this the problem right here? That's the config. Let me try something here real quick. I don't know if maybe something has changed in this. I'm going to try it this way. Oh. Oh. I see. I see. So, here's what's happening. I think we're missing a configuration because the CA object technically does not live on the certificate authority. It lives in the domain controller. I believe when most people are setting up this lab, they have the certificate server, the CA, and the domain controller, the server, basically be one machine. We've got to split this out. That's what's happening. All right, let me come back over here real quick. What variables do we have? Actually, hold on. Let me go back to where we just were. Certificate authority. C authority common name. Okay, I feel like I'm missing something in here. Let me see. Let's see. So here's all of our available variables. Ludus ADCS domain. Let's go look at the config actually real quick. Let's go pull the config up. Hacking the planet. That's right. Let's see. Did I put NeoVim on here? I did. Okay. See how it works. Let's see. NVim. I want to go to 2022 config. Yeah. Okay. Take me to cert server. All right. Here we go. So here's our cert server. Here's our roles. So I think what we're going to need to do is add role vars to this. And so let's do role vars. Pull the NetBIOS name for the domain assigned to this machine in the Ludus range config. Okay. So this pulls the VM name of the primary DC for the domain assigned. So that's the Ludus ADCS DC. CA host, Ludus or set attribute match VM name host 0. So what's the default for this? I gotta figure that out. Deepest, what's up, man? We're just fixing up the AD lab real fast. I don't know what. There's something I think whenever you're going through and you're configuring this. So let's look at this is the example range config, right? Here's our DC, and then on the domain controller, they add the Ludus ADCS stuff in here. So we're doing it separately. So we're splitting out the domain controller and the certificate authority into two different ones. That's a much more real-world deployment scenario. I'm not saying I haven't seen the two combined, and that's really common. I'm saying anything that's above like a medium-sized business, yeah, you separate those duties, bro. Hey, Coaster, what's up? The Cyber Coaster. All right, let me see if there's anything else I need to do with this. Enable escalation 6. We'll go ahead and leave these alone for now. So there's our display names. Here's our variables that we can do. So we can set the CA host. We could also set the domain. So what did it use for each of those? I'm trying to decide. $270. Thanks for coming online. Welcome in. I hope you all are having a fantastic Sunday. Honestly, the biggest thing is my back is jacked from staying at my mom's because I didn't know this, but her couch is busted, and I spent, I don't know, 5 hours on it watching John Wick 3 and 4 because I just hadn't had a chance to, and I didn't have anything else going on. So, because, like I said, the internet wasn't working real well at her house. And then I crashed on my brother's bed. My brother usually looks after our mom, but he was out of town, so I went and stayed with her this weekend. And so, yeah, first world problems. I got nothing else to do. Guess I'll watch some John Wick. Well, I had to watch it again, Coaster, because the last time I watched it, I was down at my buddy's ranch. We were down there just chilling out, shooting guns, basic dude stuff, right? And we were watching it like really late at night, and I passed out during like I think the end of like John Wick 4, like the second half. The fight on the stairs, that's where I passed out. And so like I had to go watch it again to catch the ending. Let's see. Trying to make sure I'm going to have this one configured correctly. Let's see. So let's go check what the defaults are. So those are the main YAML. So let's do this. I'm gonna bust this out, duplicate, because I want to go look in the main YAML and see what the defaults are for this. So if I think we go to, I think it's in meta. Here we go. Yeah, so 2019 should have been supported. We probably could have left the 2019 one alone. I think this actually might be in tasks main. Let's see, because the one I want to look at is, let's look at this variable first. Oh, that's for the install templates. I don't think this actually is in tasks main. Maybe it's in files? No, it's defaults. Duh, I'm an idiot. Defaults main. Here we go. So for the Ludus ADCS domain, let's go look at something real quick. Let's go back. So what we're doing is we're troubleshooting the Ansible portion of the lab config because it looks like it's trying to talk to things that should be on the DC that it thinks are on the certificate authority because it's used to them being one machine, like I was saying. I haven't seen anything about the John Wick game, Bobby, but I'm hoping it's really good. In my mind, so back in, what was that? In Max Payne 1, the original Max Payne game, there was a Kung Fu mod for that game, and it was freaking phenomenal. I am hoping that the John Wick game is going to be something kind of like that, Max Payne with Kung Fu. That's what I'm really hoping for. I think that would be sick. They made a Continental TV miniseries? Ooh. It traces Winston's origins. I would really like to know that because Winston is always... Who did he remind me of? He kind of, in some way, reminds me of Garrick from Deep Space Nine, where he's always got some angle he's working, right? Except Garrick was Lonely Taylor, right? And Winston was like, I'm Winston, right? He was very much just out in the open, but always trying to work an angle. Okay, I put a little note over here for me to go check out the Continental. All right. So back to what we were looking at. This is failing over here in task main. And it's failing on that edit attribute. Here we go. So the ones it needs the CA authority server and the certificate authority common name. So this is what's failing. This right here, the certificate authority common name was fine, right? If we go look at the log, back to the logs. Let me see. Let's scroll up right here. So, because it's trying to contact cert server Ludus CA. Ludus CA is correct. Cert server is not, though. This needs to actually be pointed to the domain controller. So, what I need to double check is nothing over here. I need to come back over here. This says it's the certificate authority server. However, that didn't work. Actually, you know what? I need to try. Let me try one more thing. Rather than DC01, I'm going to try cert server. Yeah, RPC service unavailable. So how is the config? Because according to the configuration file, this should have been the certificate authority. Certificate authority server, but that is not correct. Wait, this is the defaults. Hang on. Duplicate. We're going to duplicate another tab over here. Let's see. Tasks. Nope, not main. Where is it? Is it files? Meta? Nope. I'm trying to remember. Het10 has sent me his info on his Ansible course. I probably should take the time to go through that. Where's that set at? So it says it's set in main. What are the variables here? Oh, it's this one. Okay. Ah, I'm an idiot. This variable actually maps down to this one, and then that maps to a different one. So Ludus ADCS CA host. And according to this, so is this just the config and Ludus does the rest? How does it work with the Ludus range? Pretty much. So this is an Ansible role that it will go through and it will apply over to those machines on the Ludus server. However, it looks like it's losing its mind when it thinks that the certificate server and this domain controller should be separated, which is how it would be in, like I said, in a real enterprise level environment. You're not going to have a domain controller and the CA be one machine. You're going to pop them apart. Oh, you also played the Kung Fu mod for Max Payne? Dude, that was so cool. I loved that mod so much. Someone tried to recreate it for Max Payne 2, but it was really lame. Hold on, what was it? This is the one I need. Ludus ADCS CA host. So if I look at this, this pulls the host name from the Ludus config for this host. Let me double check something over in the config real quick. Let's see, where is here? Let's go look at that again real fast. So DCO, where's DCO1? Here we go. So yeah, we set the FQDN, which is going to be ludus.domain. We used it as the primary DC. Oh, is this why? I think I'm an idiot. I think this is why. I think that's actually what jacked it up. I think the domain controller, because this was a combination of two different labs. I think that's what's happened here. Let me go pull up this one real fast. I think what we're having is we're having a collision of configuration files. Because this one right here from Synzac was the actual base configuration that we used. So let me go find this real fast. Wait, hold on. Ludus SCCM, yeah. That's where we just were. That's this repository. Okay, basically have to go undo the ball of string. Tasks. What tasks are in here? Main YAML. Okay. Yeah, I think that's what's actually messing it up. Damn. All right, now the good news is... Actually, there is no good news. Because, unfortunately, I think this means we have to blow away the server and restart it. Dude, Knighted, I love Ludus. And it is amazing. It is such a cool system. So they provide you with the various default configs that just spin up VMs automatically, and you're able to modify them to fit your purposes. It goes even beyond that. So here, let's go do a quick talk on it. So if you've never seen Ludus, go to the site ludus.cloud and pay no attention to this because this is the fancy enterprise version over here. But if you just come over to the quick start right here, it walks you through it. So the entire lab range here is defined as this YAML file up here. So all the machines, we have our, let me come down here. Here we go. So for example, I have, we'll start at the top because this is where DC01 is. So we got DC01 defined and we tell it, hey, there's the virtual machine name. The range ID is, each user has their own unique identifier. That is the unique identifier for that user. So they all have their own dedicated IP space, a couple other features there. You can tell it what VLAN to be on, the last octet, how much RAM, how many CPUs. And then you can give it special considerations like, hey, by the way, this is going to be the primary domain controller, and here's the domain we're going to use internally. And then you can also define various Ansible roles that get applied to those machines when it deploys it. So the entire network gets defined as basically network as config. And once you go through and you settle this up, it will actually run through, deploy the machines. You've got templates set up, and then it will use those to clone them out and then go through and configure them for using Ansible. And the whole thing is really awesome. I really enjoy it. So it is a super fun way to like go spin up a lab. The downside is anytime you're doing something with Windows or a lot of heavy config, it can take some time, but it is such a great tool. It's amazing. And in fact, if you come over and you want to just find a way to get started quickly, you do have to run it on bare metal. You're not going to be running this inside of like VMware, but it supports a pretty good range of machines. I have an old beefy Dell T7600 server that I use it on, and it's a pretty old server, this guy. Hold on, let me see. When did they stop producing the Dell T7600? Let me see. Well, actually, so according to this, you could last purchase it in like 2026 even, which surprises the crap out of me. So they're Oh, sorry. It says no longer available for purchase online then. Workstation was originally released in 2012. And I believe I bought this one 2016, I think. And it was a couple years old. So this server is probably rocking at least, I don't know, maybe 13 years old. So, but this is what I have it running on. So you can go through, the setup is super easy. And then they even have deployment environment guides. Like, hey, here's how you deploy different environments. Here's how you go through and you deploy ADCS, right? Which we were just doing. And by the way, if you want to do Game of Active Directory, cool. Here's how you can go through and set up the various flavors of Game of Active Directory. Here's the vanilla one. Here's the SCCM variant. I forget what the Ninja Hacker Academy variant of it. Test machines for NetExec. So like this was from LayHack 2024 and 25. Pure SCCM lab. All these different ones in here. Davis, do not apologize, man. When I put Q&A in the stream title, I mean ask questions. Now the A part though is a little funny. You can ask a question, you may get an answer, or you may get total just like ass. But I'll be real with you. If I don't know the answer, I'll tell you. But yes, I love Ludus. It is really cool. Unfortunately, it looks like I see what I did wrong here, and that is I did this without fully RTFMing the config.
IT, have you tried turning it off and on again?
I'm trying right now. 57. All right, so what I need to do is I need to take that line out because we've inadvertently installed what is this? We inadvertently installed the ADCS server, the certificate authority, onto the domain controller. So what I want to do here is let me just do this. Yank 2, yank, and then let's see here. SCCM agent, Ludus ADS. Yes, I do want that. Let me take that out of here. And then that was not what I wanted to do. What I want to do is turn off the, I want to do this part right here. Let's see, should go right about, wait, hold on. Where's the cert server? There's our workstation. There's the cert server. Here we go. Go and drop that right there. Okay. So now we should only have one ADCS server set up. I'm going to double check the rest of these. Okay, that one we have web dev. Okay. There we go. Awesome. Awesome to the max. All right, we have one Debian server that's going to be in here too. All right, so let me X out of this. Now, fortunately, and then also, Defus, setting it up, once you have the YAML file built, you have some of the configuration take multiple steps because you got to make sure you got your templates built. That can take a little bit of time, but usually you only have to rebuild them like every couple of months. It's not that bad. And then once you have that set up, you've got whatever Ansible roles you want applied to those individual machines. Then you can just come in here and tell it literally, we're going to do a config set. And we're going to tell it to use that file we just used. So we've updated the file. We're going to re-upload it to the server because it's basically a REST API with a CLI wrapper here. And then what we're going to do is we're going to do Ludus range RM. Yep. And now we can actually come over to Proxmox because Ludus is built entirely on top of Proxmox. So if I come over here to AD Lab, right, I start busting this down. What we're going to see, it's going to start, it's going to start shutting down these machines. And then we're going to start seeing them pop off the stack here. Just boop, boop, boop. And then once that's good, we'll start redeploying it again. Yeah. I say the biggest thing that you've got, let me close this up. The biggest pain in the butt that you'll have with it, Defus, is I drew a blank on it. And unfortunately, this really wasn't much of a problem, especially if you're running older hardware, until recently. Thank you, AI bubble people. The RAM is usually the big bottleneck, unfortunately. And I went and checked even the old ECC RAM that this thing's using, which I got like 256 gigs for like 130 bucks, maybe 150. And now that same setup, it's like, I think like $300, $400. It's ridiculous. And like, this is old RAM. This isn't even the high speed current RAM. So unfortunately, RAM is usually the biggest bottleneck in any of these systems. Oh, so speaking of things like going up in price, so I forget who it was that was showing us about the SXM2 cards that you could convert to PCIe. All those have gone up way in price now. I was daydreaming about them the other day, and I looked up the price and like, boom! Yeah, RAM is the major pain in everyone's butt right now. It sucks so bad. All right, so it's popping all these off. All those are destroyed. Range is gone. So now to deploy this, it's literally as simple as Ludus range deploy. Boom, just like that. And now what you'll start seeing it do is it's going to start cloning those machines down. So it always starts with a router. So every range has its own isolated router in it. And then once the router's deployed, it will start deploying all those other machines. They could be Windows, Linux, any of the other templates that are in there. And once they're cloned out, then it will use Ansible to log into them and go configure it. I just got two 32 gig kits and they just died. Oh no. Bro, I hope you can... Oh wait, if they were older kits, then yeah, maybe you won't be able to like exchange them or warranty them or anything. That blows. And what kills me is on this desktop right here. So everything you're seeing right now, this is all from what is this? Everything you're seeing right now is actually running through the streaming computer. I'm glad I got that when I did. But my desktop, where I'm actually doing this work that you're seeing, this is still running 32 gigs, and I have been meaning to upgrade it to 64 forever, and I just kept putting it off. And of course now I'm like, damn it. And this is running DDR4 also. This is not running the ultra fast DDR5. So something else funny on the RAM front actually is, I guess they've started producing DDR6 memory.
Bullshit, I can't hear you. Sound off like you got a pair.
You're so full of crap, Killa. What's up, man? Let me see. I'm double checking real quick while the lab is deploying. Let me do one more thing here. Ludus range logs follow. So here we can actually, what we're doing now is we're following the logs in real time from the server. Watch with it. Okay, so no, DDR6 is not out yet. I believe it's going to start coming out in 2027. But anyway, yeah, that's the crazy part is that, and it's so wild because they bought up all the RAM for systems they don't even have it to put in. That's the really wild part. Oh, you had those modules for a long time. Oh, rip. Yeah, Killa, dude, I'm doing pretty well. I was feeling crazy sick earlier today. I was in rough shape between my back, and I was just feeling like warmed over death. And now I'm actually feeling okay, thankfully. And I don't know what was kind of going on with that. But thankfully feeling all right here. And had a pretty good visit with my mom yesterday. And my kids just love going over to my mom's house. They're so freaking spoiled over there. And my younger one, Honey Badger, he'll actually go crawl into bed with my mom at night, and that's where he'll sleep because they have about the same bedtime. And so he crawls into bed with her, and he's just happy as like a little pig in a blanket, just curled up next to her. It was so damn funny. Let's see here. What else was I taking a look at? All right, so we'll let this redeploy, and unfortunately, that's going to take a bit. However, let me pull up the Notion notebook because that was our news from last Wednesday. I've had some stuff come up on HackBot. So one of the things I was actually looking at for HackBot was integrating Dreadnought strikes into this. Can I zoom this in without zooming the whole thing? Yeah, so one of the things I was looking at, because I actually do have access to strikes, is kind of like what would be some of the patterns that we'd be using. So I wanted to use strikes because as I go through and rebuild HackBot, I wanted to be able to actually quantify some of the results that we're going to be getting and seeing how they do certain things. And one of those things I want to look at is say, hey, do certain models handle certain activities differently or better? Because they will, right? So we'll go through here. We're going to put in Dreadnought strikes as like a wrapper. So the way it kind of works here is... Shut up, baby. I know it. What's up, guy? Is strikes basically is going to wrap around all the Langgraph information in here. And then when that happens, it's going to be basically used as like the execution harness. So that way it can run through, do its thing, and then eventually spit out all the recording metrics to it. Let's see. There was another one in here. What was the other thing I was looking at here? Oh, no. But here's kind of like the architecture ideas of what I was thinking about. So for the core framework, we're going to be using Langgraph still because it met all the scoring criteria, all the benchmarks. We're going to have Dreadnought strikes put in here. For our dynamic tooling, we're going to basically go with like a hybrid MCP and RoboPages approach to it. But I actually might just wrap RoboPages into an MCP. I haven't quite decided on that just yet. Let's see. We're still going to be using Pydantic in there. And actually, I think I need to go back through and update the architecture in here because this is, I believe this is my old graph as I was looking through in here. I know this is kind of tiny. I don't know if I can I zoom it in? Oh, cool, I can. Here we go. So this one kind of shows a little bit about like what I've been thinking about with working on HackBot, like how it's going to go through. The biggest thing that's going to come with it is I am going to integrate. Let me see. Close that up. Where's the other page I was just looking? Here we go. Daniel Miesler. The algorithm. So Daniel Miesler's algorithm here is his attempt to basically make like a general problem solving framework in here. I only saw it very briefly, Guy, because I just wasn't on my phone a whole lot. When I was taking care of my mom this weekend, I was at her place. The internet there is atrocious. And the cell signal is atrocious too, surprisingly. So, no, I didn't get to fully appreciate all of your trolling that you were doing on the Facebookie. Did computers hook you instantly, or did you kind of grow into it over time? And what age did you come into contact with computers? So my dad was an aeronautical engineer, and he was always very, very into computers, right? So I think I had my first contact with an actual computer that was running, I don't know, maybe DOS. I don't even know which version of DOS it was running, but it was running DOS when I was in kindergarten. And yes, I was hooked. And it was actually really funny because I can't believe I remember this. My dad got a 5 1/4 inch floppy, and it had like an alphabet game in it. And it was one like, hey, help me learn my letters and spell words and stuff. And he made a shortcut for me over in DOS where I could just type the letter A and hit enter and boom, it would bring up the game. But he made the mistake of showing me the actual
command to go run the game. And all of a sudden, the little A shortcut was not good enough for me. I was like, no, Daddy, I need to do it the way you did it. And I do not know how long. It must have been for freaking ever. Because I had never had exposure to a keyboard. I'm 5 years old at this point. Never had any exposure to a computer. But the way Daddy did it was cooler. So I don't know how long he sat with me to like help me type out the command and making mistakes and probably waiting like 30 seconds for me to find the correct number or letter on the keyboard. And that was how I kind of got my first introduction to it. And then I think I got the first computer where like I had regular access to it was running OS2 Warp, and it was connected to CompuServe. Yeah, I remember that. And I believe that was when I was about in 3rd grade. So, yeah, he gave me a lot of free reign on the computer. And thankfully, the amount of information that is available today was not available back then. Otherwise, I probably would have done something incredibly stupid and like caught a charge on something. So, dude, he's an amazing dad. And so that was a funny I can't believe I remember that story. Let's see here. Anyway, so this is what I'm working around the core idea of for HackBot as we're going to be rewriting it, is that this is a general problem-solving framework. And what it should do is it should basically try to take things from a current state to an ideal state. So it will take this and kind of take what you give it, decompose it, put it into a desired state, and then work with it in this kind of loop. So I'm thinking that this will work well. I'm actually going to start working on a blog post talking about, I don't think a lot of the, of course, as I say this, let me see if I still have it pulled up. Let me see if I've got something real quick. I don't think I do. It was something I saw on Les Twitters. Damn it. No, it's not. But it was some kind of interesting approach to working with language models and making them a little bit more like computers. And so I was looking at that. Make it more awesome or would work. Yeah, no kidding. But no, so the blog post I'm going to start working at, because I think we're kind of reaching the upper limit of where the current era of language models are going to kind of like tap out. They're going to have to start fundamentally, I think, changing some of the structure of them and how they operate. So I really think the next big boost in efficiency is going to be around the agentic design of them. So I got another blog post I'm going to be working on where I'm going to take, I'm going to use Codex for that one because I haven't got to use Codex and it's a good excuse to go do it. Where I'm going to take Codex, I'm going to run it through some paces, probably against my lab on the Ludus server. And then we're going to start with like vanilla and then capture all the metrics. Then we're going to start adding in intelligence to it till finally, I think I'm going to try and do like a full PAI migration from basically like a port from Claude Code over to Codex, and then let that run and see kind of how it does and figure out like where it succeeds, where it fails, and get an idea of it. And as I was actually kind of looking at this, it's going to be expensive because it's going to be a lot of tokens. What do you think about the light models instead of language using spectrum communication? I'm not sure what you're looking at there. ZAI got GLM5 Turbo out today. Oh, let me see. Yeah, tokens will go burr for that test because I think I've got 10 different iterations planned out, and it's going to be, I think, 30-ish runs per iteration to try and squeeze out some of the statistical noise. And so you're talking 30 runs by 10 iterations. So you're talking at the
I'll buy you a pewter for Christmas.
she did 1 year. So you're talking like it's gonna be like 300 runs. And the idea there is I haven't quite decided what efficiency is going to look like in it yet. The most base efficiency would be how many tokens it's using. What is ZAI? I haven't looked at that. Let's go take a look at it real fast. Is this a... Oh, this is actually... I think you did mention ZAI. Somebody did. $5X plan 81. Okay. This might be interesting to go try out because currently I use a Claude Max plan, which is $100 a month. Oh yeah. Not sponsored by Jocko yet. Good old Jocko's. And Sock brought me some tea just before the stream started. Oh wow, this says it's 3x usage of the Claude Pro plan. This one's 5x. So even at this max plan, which is 2... This one's at 216. So if this is a 3x, 4 times the Pro plan usage. So if this is 4 times that, that would be like 20. So this would actually be a huge one. And in fact, if you pay for it yearly, it's an even bigger discount. Huh. I'll have to look at that. I'll go test it out. I'm going to start with the low ball. 3 times the Claude Pro plan. Because I'm currently at 5x. It'd be interesting to try it out with this one. Here. Did you break your system several times without knowing how to fix it because you were too young and curious to try? Oh, dude, I broke it so hard. In fact, that's how I learned Linux. I didn't learn Linux until I was actually already an adult. I didn't really have a lot of encouragement to go down that route until I went to like one of the local hacker meetups, and they're finally like, bro, you got to start learning Linux. And I did, and I was tinkering with it so much, it was constantly just install, break, and just running through that loop until I finally was like understanding what was happening with it. So photonic neural networks, or PNNs, kind of imagine a language model uses token in English, but these models are using photonic via sensors. Oh, interesting. All right, I'll go test out ZAI. Not right now, but I will check it out. Let's see. I forgot what we were even talking about. Oh, that's right. We were talking about the algorithm. So this is going to be the underlying idea behind what the rewrite of HackBot is going to look like. Is going through and trying to build this in from the very beginning. And here, in fact, here, I'll even show you the evaluation metrics. Let's see. How about a notion? There we go. Is it over? Is it in here? Let me see. Here we go. Here was the evaluation metrics. So we were comparing LangGraph, Pydantic, Crew AI, and AutoGen. And we had must-have criterias and then nice-to-have criterias. Let's see. Actually, no, this was just the reference. Where was this? I gotta go find it. Hey, 44, what's up, man? Oh, that's your referral link? Okay, hang on. I'll go grab that real quick. Because when I sign up for it, I'll definitely... I'll let you get the... the bonus from that one. Grab it. All right, cool. Let me see. Was it under architecture ideas? Where did I put that? No, this was just the basics of everything I was looking at in here. So also, one of the things we're going to start doing is actually putting in like proper scoping for it. So here's where we're going to be looking at like what we've got for the various scoping methods. Let's see. These are all going to be based off of Pydantic instead of trying to do typed dictionaries everywhere. And also, we're going to start breaking out the state. I'm going to make the state a lot more flexible. It's not going to be as rigid as we had it over with HackBot. Hey, Oni, what's up, man? Another weird niche technology post-LLM idea. They're hooking up brain cells to language models for these weird hybrid models. So yeah, I saw the news story about everyone, or that lab that they hooked up, I think it was like 200,000 brain cells, I think, and they taught it how to play Doom. Now, the downside to that is those neurons, I was reading up on it, they're very short-lived. They don't last long. They're prone to burning out when that happens. So it'd still be an interesting approach, right? It was 3 billion cells? Nah, was it? Hang on. Go find that. Brain cells to play Doom. No, go away. Well, this was the one in 2021. Was there a more recent one where they did this? Actually, this article was from 2 weeks ago. But according to this article... Oh my god, what are you doing? Go away. Well, F you then. There we go. But that article had said it was about 800,000. There we go. I don't see any other reference to how much they were doing with it in there. Okay, so this was the article. I'm surprised it was just now kind of making the rounds in here. But yeah, so they were doing about 800,000 brain cells. Let's see. Brain cells in an average human. So let's size compare this real quick. So typically, you got about 86 billion neurons in here. So they've got room to grow. Roughly 171 billion total brain cells. So that's the actual, that's when you're combining neurons and non-neuronal cells in there. So hang on one sec, guys. I gotta run to the bathroom. I'll be right back. One sec, guys. I'm actually back. I'm just working on something real fast here. Got a spam flood over on Kick. There we go. All right. Had to clean that up real quick. Woot. All right. And no, guy, I was not pooping. No, I came back and I wasn't paying super close attention over on the Kick side, and unfortunately, it was just getting spammed by like view botters. All right, let's see here. Let's go check in over on Zaluda's lab real quick. All right, so it's setting up the domain controller right now. So we'll see how long this takes to actually go through and do a deployment. Let me pull that up real fast. So is this the more recent one? Let's see. Cortical Labs grew 200,000 human neurons in a lab and kept them alive on a silicon chip, and they taught the neurons to play Pong and then Doom. Now someone wired them into a language model, real brain cells firing electrical impulses to choose every token the AI generates. So you can see which channels were stimulated, the feedback from the neurons in choosing that letter or word. Oh, this is different from what I saw. The fact that the account is named Chief of Autism, that cracks me up. That's pretty wild. Let's see if I can make this any bigger. So how did they integrate this over to the actual language model? That's what I'm curious about. That is kind of crazy, though. I do like the little visual they've got going on down here. Let me just look at this, what they've got going on here. CL1 LLM encoder. So is this the actual analysis of it? What did he say here? So as an LM powered by a living brain organoid, where it wants to go on vacation, it said the great Berenice Cove of the Maldives. So that place doesn't exist. The brain cells hallucinated a vacation destination. That said, Tuscany, Italy, real place, has for its rolling hills, stunning views. Also, during one conversation, the neurons 19 times overrode the model's top choice and forced a different word. So 200,000 neurons on a $35,000 chip are dreaming up fake beaches and remembering real ones. That's wild. So you think in 10 years, humans will depend on AI as much as they depend on the internet? I don't know, but it would not surprise me. Yeah, this is usually my reaction whenever I see these things. Oh, sweet. Man-made horrors beyond my wildest comprehension. I think we're moving closer to like Warhammer 40K, where they're going to say you can't do AI unless it's a human person's brain that's been sacrificed and they took the brain out and lobotomized it and stuck it into the machine. That's where after I think we have like the great AI war of 20 whatever. I think that's probably where they're gonna go with it. Butlerian Jihad meets Warhammer 40k. I think that's where it's gonna go. We shouldn't laugh at that. I know, right? Hey, Rabbit, what's up, dude? So that was the entire code base to hook up the brain cells. Crazy. I think the main thing is, I think if they can get to the point where they can just simulate the brain cells activity a little bit better, I think that's going to be a stepping stone. Because ironically, that is actually part of a story I've been thinking about in my head and working on for several years now. Everything will be fine. The AI needs us. I know, right? But so what's crazy is in the Matrix, though, Guy, the AI didn't actually need us. Because if you listen to Morpheus explaining to Neo what happened with the Matrix, he says that they were keeping the humans as batteries, but they combined that with a new type of fusion. And fusion power is orders and orders of magnitude beyond what you're going to get from harvesting humans, let alone all the resources it's going to take to do that. So there's only two possibilities there. I am a fan of that the machines actually made the Matrix to be a punishment for humanity for scorching the skies and blocking out the solar power source. Or they're doing it because they need something fundamentally from the humans. Maybe it's creativity or something like that that they couldn't simulate properly. Maybe different machine factions debated on keeping the humans as a backup. Maybe that's true. See, look at that. Even the machines are doing reliability failovers. I can't believe I'm blanking on that term. What is the term? They're doing site reliability. There we go. Okay, cool. Site server's getting set up. Awesome. The lab is deploying. All right, let me see. What else do we have going in here? Actually, let me pop over into here real quick. Let me rename this one here. Oh, all these are powered off. Let's see. Power on. I had another power outage, so I had to shut down the server. So all these machines were turned off. So let's go boot them back up. Is this LLM hacking bot? This is a small test range we were using over in Ludus to build the Mythic MCP server. So the Mythic MCP server is currently, I'm testing it right now before I open it up to to the general public. I've got it. It's still private. It's still in a private repo right now. But actually, I've got a couple of buddies that are testing it out. Let me know if they see any issues with it before we start actually releasing it. Let's see. AKC, thanks for coming online. Welcome in. All right. So this is, let me double check here real quick. Where is this one? Okay, all of these are up. Let me go get into the dev box real quick. I got way too many connections in here. Where is it? That should be the right one. There we go. All right, let me go drop into Septimux. And then, where did I put that project? I think I put it into... Yeah, there we go. I wonder if I can resume the last conversation. I don't even remember where we were with this. We were doing integration test. Oh, that's right. We were doing integration testing when everything shut down on us. So one of the things I've actually been working on a lot recently is trying to help understand more about Actually, I just realized something. Let me go update. Okay, we're on the latest version of the cloud code. Because now they've got the 1 million context model as the default. Let's see. There we go. We'll go ahead and set that as our default in here. Let's see. Effort. Yeah, there we go. How's it going? I have no idea who that is or the scenario surrounding it, guy. So effort sets the level of effort for the model usage. It's basically like, what is its thinking capacity? So it used to be here in model. You could actually come through and in here, you would actually change it to, you could change it to like what the level of thinking was. I believe they just changed it to whatever the effort is in here. So I set the effort to maximum. That is kind of wild. Let's see. Let me see here. What was I going to look at for this? Oh. I need to go get Mythic up. Where's our... Let's see if Mythic is actually up and running right now. It is. Awesome. Let me log in there. Password. Super secure. All our callbacks should be dead because the box has been offline for several days. Oh, let me go. Oh, this was Arachne. That's what that was. Yeah, that's right. We had Arachne up and running. We had Debian. All right, let me hide that callback. Hide that callback. This one. They're all dead. They're dead, Jim. Hide callback. This one actually might still work. Yeah, that one still works because it's Arachne, because it's a web shell. It works a bit differently in here. I want to see if I can actually have it do some stuff, though, real quick. Because one of the things on... Hold on, Royal just froze up on me. There it goes. Is we have all of these payloads over here. Like, we have 56 total payloads in here. So I think what I want to tell it to do is... Let me look at something real quick here. Let's see if it can actually do this. I wanted to do a quick test of it quick. Let's see. Make sure you're connected to Mythic. Actually, hold on. We don't even have that set. Let's just do it. MCP. Mythic is connected. Okay, cool. List all the payloads generated in Mythic. I wanted to start testing it with like just giving it some general instructions before we actually start making it structural. Adding some prompts in there to like help it understand how to do certain things. Oh, now it's going to go JSON born on us, and it's like, we don't have a list payloads option in here. I could have sworn we had, like, a list payloads in here. Well, that's fine. We can go add one, then. Let me see. What are the core Mythic tools of it? Because I probably should have put that as a core tool in there. Yes, all the testing boxes that I use AKC, unless I have a particular reason for it, they're just going to be Debian. It's real easy to just drop in. There's already a template for it in Ludus. Get callbacks, list operations, files. Okay, actually, that makes sense. Let me see something here. Hang on, I gotta drop into OPSEC mode real fast because I don't know what I left up in Notepad since it's a scratch pad. Okay, here we go. Yeah, all right, cool, got it. Let's go make a new spec in here because we want to be able to do a couple of these things in here. Clear. So let's do specify. What we want to do is, let's see. Go to adding new core tools around handling payloads. Oh yeah, I forgot they actually fixed the /btw command. By the way. So is that guy working for both Debian and Ubuntu? Oh, he was? Okay. I thought you said he was still currently working over at Debian, though. All right, let's get this rolling in here. So we need some payload handling tools. So we'll get those running. Because some of the things we want to be able to do with payloads is like all these actions. Maybe we want to be able to like trigger a new build. Trigger a new build with edits. It's something, any of like these in here. Although trigger a new build with edits, a lot of these are very helpful for the actual human user. They're not as helpful for like an AI agent in here. Oh, so he got fired from Canonical after all of his exploits came to light, but he's still working at Debian. Was that guy, like, was he actually charged and convicted? Yeah. Because the only legit reason I could think that they would keep him on for something like that is if he was basically working alone from home, right? If he was working in an office, they'd be like, nah, bro, you got to go. Only 2 times, right? Just twice, you know. There's no pattern there. That's their argument. I mean, so I have a slightly different take on it. While what he did is absolutely heinous, there is also, I don't, like I said, I don't know all the details to it there, but the idea that people who are convicted of crimes should never be allowed to like hold any kind of job beyond basically being like a sanitation worker, right, is doesn't really fit into the idea of rehabilitation. People need to be able to like go through and right their wrongs and improve themselves. Now that's a pretty big and wrong to try to right. So it takes a lot of effort to overcome all of that. But at the same time, there does need to be a way for people to actually go through and redeem themselves. If there's no redemption, right, there's no way to like go through and improve yourself and right wrongs that are going to happen, then what's the point of ever trying to improve that? Oh, that is a problem, guy. Yeah. All right. Listing payloads, getting, creating payloads, downloading payloads. Check config and redirect rules. So Before we proceed with this, is that not how BTW works? Unknown skill? I guess I don't have that one, even though I updated. Weird. So, King fan, what's up, man? Welcome in. Oh man, I'm out of my tea's all gone. Let me double check something here because I thought we already had something around creating payloads. But because we have that in our integration testing, I thought that tool was already defined. Why is it trying to redefine a tool now? This one is just the Claude Code CLI. I keep thinking about maybe trying to tinker with OpenClaw, but honestly, I'm not real big on the whole personal AI assistant angle of stuff. There are very few times like I want my language models to ever go interact with anything crazy. Shut up, baby. I know it. And so I haven't taken that approach yet. And plus, the one thing I do like about YouTube's not down. This should still be up. No, I see it up right now. Yeah, because I've got stream monitors running on the other side, checking what's gone. Oh, okay. Oh, they're calling the Mythic Python library directly. Okay. Gotcha. All right. That's fine then. Let's see. Let's go to do some clarification then. Let's see. Photos and scans from the Pokemon Go players created a dataset of 30 plus billion real-world images now being used to help delivery robots navigate streets without GPS. So people thought they were catching Pikachu. Turns out they were also training robots the whole time. Yeah, I saw that. Oh no, what is this, Freedom? Let's see. Oh my Claude Code. Multi-agent orchestration for Claude Code. Ooh, interesting.
I'm back, baby.
Hello, Bender. So if you're uncertain about some of the requirements, so this is, like I said, multi-agent orchestration for Claude Code with zero learning curve. See, I like these kind of tools, but also I don't want to just go slapping things in without understanding exactly what they're doing. So the deep interview uses Socratic questions to clarify your thinking before before any code is written. So it exposes hidden assumptions and measures clarity across weighted dimensions, ensuring it knows exactly what to build before execution begins. And see, this is the kind of stuff that Pi already kind of does. It's really interesting because I don't see Pi getting a ton of adoption. However, Pi has already solved many of these issues. So it's kind of wild because it's like you see all these various little libraries come up, resolving a problem that's kind of already been addressed. It's a little wild. Oh no, what is this? Something else from the OpenClaw land. Hold on, before I read this, let me go check and see what we've got for clarification here. Let's see. Wrapper payload scope. So the spec covers standard payload creation, but Mythic also supports wrapper payloads, payloads that wrap and embed another existing payload. So this is a distinct operation with different inputs. Should wrapper payload creation be in scope for this? I'm gonna leave that out of scope for now. Because that's another thing I'm gonna have to kind of think about in here. I want to be able to do wrapper payloads, but they also work a little bit differently in there. And so if we're going to be exposing them as part of the MCP, then that's going to be a different type of plugin that's going to have to be in there. So basically any of these, right, if we come over to services, any of these is going to have like their own plugin. So the translator doesn't need one because it just automatically comes in here. But the C2 profiles in here for like web shell, we can come through and we can use this to create our various, what are they? Our C2 profiles, right? So we can have our different C2 profiles in here. The other ones for like command augmentation. These, I don't know if we're going to need. I need to go double check on that because command augments are typically for actually using when you're here typing in commands. But all the other ones like webhooks, loggers, eventing, various browsers. So all these other ones in here.
Let's echo 23, see what's up.
Echo 23. Love that one. Actually, even browsers isn't one that we necessarily are going to need. The main ones we're going to need is agents, which we've got these ones covered. Apollo, Arachne, and Poseidon. C2, managing those. We'll need to actually get those in here. And they all have unique names, so thankfully we could still namespace those by like HTTP and web shell. I think these are actually going to be the primary ones we're going to need. But also for payloads. Shut up, baby. I know it. Actually, I don't think we even have any wrapping payloads in here. We would see that come up as, I think, a Scarecrow agent. Oh, let's go look at Scarecrow real quick. Mythic C2 agent Scarecrow. Yeah, so this one actually shows up as a payload type in here. And it's a wrapper type. So the idea here is Scarecrow would actually take a different payload's output, bring it in, and then generate something. When it comes to OpenClaw, I don't understand why people can't just create their own profiles and accounts to work with you instead of giving it access to your personal account. And if you need an email, you just forward it to it. That's actually one of the things I did. So Harvey has his own email address, and I forward stuff, like very particular emails get forwarded over to him, and some emails that I want him to have get forwarded over to him. So I treat him like an individual, not as a replacement. Not like I don't want him to take my place. I want him to go through and work with me on stuff. Have him work for me. He is an employee, not a replacement. All right, so what happened with OpenClaw? OpenClaw agent flaws could enable prompt injection and data exfiltration. Oh, I'm sure. When was this one from? Oh, this is very recent. March 14th. This is just a day ago. Yesterday. Yeah, I believe it. Dude, it's so hard to copy these. Let me go save that, actually. Let's see. Where is... Wednesday night news. Let me see. Wait, that was the one for... Hold on. There we go. Let me just drop this in here real quick. There we go. I'll save that one. I'll update the tracking page later. OpenClaw's an O-Day factory. It really is. Oh, you know what? Let's go check in on the lab deployment real quick. Let's go see how it's doing. Oh, okay, it's currently setting up the SQL server for SCCM, so that's good. All right. Let's see. So last thing we did was we ran. Oh, we didn't actually. So after the clarification, we want to actually then move on to planning. So let's go ahead and do our plan here. Boop. So actually, in this one, this is running very vanilla Claude code with SpecKit installed. This is another different Claude code setup, something I'm testing. But actually, for Harvey, I had Harvey go through and read how to use SpecKit, and then I give it the information that I want, and it goes through and it does the research on each of these steps in here. So so Harvey automatically runs through each of these steps and goes through like what the recommendations are, and only bubbles up to me whenever it's like I don't know what would be the best path forward. And so it will run through this entire thing where, hey, let's go ahead and build the spec, and it goes through and does the implementation. I've got it doing that on smaller projects. I don't have it doing it on anything big. So that actually brings me to the other thing I've been trying to learn more about is actually software engineering patterns. So how do you actually make sure, like, what are the project management frameworks, right? For getting things into a proper, like, primary resource document. Use AI as an intern or employee? Exactly, I'm on that same thing. So, Dow, I don't know if you saw that Facebook actually bought Maltbook. So I'm thinking about it like this, right? OpenAI bought OpenClaw. Facebook bought Maltbook. So what I need is I need something with a really cool sounding tool name that just halfway works and doesn't matter if it's got a lot of bugs in it. And then I could have one of those big tech companies like go buy it from me. Maybe I could make like OpenFlix or something, an AI to interact with your movies or whatnot, and I can get Netflix to buy it from me. There you go. There's your next $1 million idea. AI Tinder. Oh, they've already got that. Yeah. It's called Tinder. Yeah. So Oni, even Network Chuck put out a video about that. And I have not watched it, but I knew the synopsis of it. And that basically, because of the pace of everything moving in AI and him trying to keep up with everything, it burned him out really bad. He actually was considering like quitting content creation over it. And guys, that's a really easy thing to like have happen. Don't worry about knowing everything about everything. The space moves too damn fast. What I suggest is keep your, like we've done all the time in here, right? Hack around and find out. You've got your projects. You've got things that you want to project. Work on those and then find ways to improve and expand your knowledge by actually doing it with the tools. Find ways to improve the tools. Find better tools. But go through and like approach it like your project. You cannot learn everything about this. The human brain was not wired. It has not evolved over millions of years to be able to handle this flood of information. So stick to what you're enjoying, what you're learning for a particular reason. Netflix just paid $600 million for Ben Affleck's AI company. Wait, hold on. There's two things there. One, I didn't know Ben Affleck had an AI company. And two, what the heck kind of AI company is Netflix actually going to use? Okay, cool. Planning went according to plan. Okay, so what do we do have to plan? Checklist. Let's see. Runs a checklist. If only Cartman's Osimo could continue generating movie plots, that would be what the AI movies need. I think a lot of Hollywood is, maybe that's what I don't know what Ben Affleck's AI company was. What was that, Bobby? Because I think that's actually got Hollywood like super scared as to what's coming down the idea there. All right. So our spec covers 6 MCP tools with complex inputs, error handling, and data models. Which focus matters the most? So let's do for Q1. So we have AI contract completeness, 6 tools with JSON string parsing, multiple response types, all the output and input contracts fully specified. Yeah, I think for Q1, we want C in here. And then for Q2, the depth. Let's see, we'll do B. We want that in there. And then Q3. Checklist for the spec author doing a self-review before implementation, for a reviewer doing PR review design. Let's see. In Q3, we'll say spec author. There you go. We'll let it churn on that. So the company was called Interpositive, an AI company that develops tools for filmmakers, including assisting with editing footage and post-production. Ooh, could be kind of interesting. Although, honestly, I think they need more old school editors and VFX folks, because I don't know what happened, but visual effects over the last decade have just gone to crap. They look horrible. Think about it, like, even going back to something like as far back as like The Phantom Menace, the visual effects were amazing in that movie. And there's modern movies coming out that should have benefited from that groundwork that look like hot garbage. I hope that company was going to be called Will Hunting. That was a good movie. Oh man, I miss Robin Williams, and maybe think of him because he was in that movie. And when he passed away, I think I've told you all this story, but my mother-in-law, we were living with her at the time. She was like, "Hey, let's go. I want to watch a Robin Williams movie." And I was like, "No, because that's just gonna make me sad." Because he had just died that day. I was like, "Let's watch Jumanji." Completely brain farted that he was in Jumanji. All right, let's see what we got here. Blame it on the DLSS AAA companies for getting lazy. Oh, dude, yeah. And what's so crazy is there was actually a study done by Valve, and they said, "Hey, we're looking at it, and from the AI, or not the AI, from the hardware, what was it? The hardware survey from Steam, they're like, hey, look, something like 75-80% of gamers don't even have the high-end graphics cards to support all these fancy features you're putting in, and you're just making your game look like crap, and you're hoping that these fancy DLSS and everything else feature are going to make your game look nice." And they don't, because the people either can't enable them or they won't enable them. All right, let's see. The actual spec is missing itself? So which one would you... hold on. That was our checklist. What comes after our checklist here? Task. Build our task. This one's looking a bit funny. Usually the checklist is like, okay, yeah, we're good. What do we got here? Timeout range, error categories, C2 input format only defined in plan and contracts, not in the spec itself. Okay, that's fine. We're not worried about it in the spec. All right, not going to worry about that. Task it out. Will it run Crisis is still relevant. Yeah, Robin Williams named his daughter Zelda literally after the video game. Well, what was the new I Do It in Prod? Oh, yeah, it's fixed in prod. It's like, yeah, just fix everything in prod. It's like, did you guys not know about quality, like QA testing? Come on. Hey, cool. Okay. I don't know if it actually got to escalation 16 last time, so hopefully our adjustment has fixed this. Yes. So it kind of helps whenever you don't have the certificate authority set as the domain controller. Excellent. So that's spinning up right now. All right, it's generating our tasks, so everything is just cooking right along. Patch Adams and Jack are my favorite movies of his. Yeah, I think that I really like both of those movies. If I had to say I had a particular favorite Robin Williams movie, though, it probably would be Hook. I really like that movie. Hook was such a good movie. Sorry, guys. Hang on 1 second. Okay. Make sure that wasn't something important. Yeah, I really liked Hook when that was coming through. All right, cool. So after this is done, we'll have all of our core payload tools for interacting with all of these over here. So all of our payloads. And the whole reason I actually did this is because I wanted to go through and delete all of these freaking payloads. That's what reminded me we didn't have any payload handling tools. It's like, okay, that was an oversight. Yeah. I believe you mean it was such a bangarang, Bobby. Hang on 1 sec, guys. I'll be right back. Back. Guess who's back? Back again. Blaise is back. Hello, friend. All right, let's see here. So Ludus is still churning for us. Like I said, we started this a while ago. The one downside, like when you're deploying the larger labs, is they can take some time, but they're also typically kind of fire and forget. Shut up, baby. I know it. All right, so what's after this? Now, the next thing we want to do is do our analysis. So we're going to do our cross analyze. There we go. Hey, caveman, what's shaking? I hope you all are... Dang, I keep reaching for this cup like there's actually anything in there. I hope you are all having a fantastic Sunday. Man, I was actually kind of sad since I told you I was feeling really sick this morning. Agent Zero got to go out to the motocross track with his cousin, two of his cousins, and a friend, and his grandfather. And they apparently were just like really killing it out there. And I was like, dang it, I hate to have missed it. Because Agent Zero is finally starting to like experiment with like doing some jumps and getting some air. And so he was having a good time out there. Also, we got dumped on rain the last week and a half, I think. So he was so like there were like all these muddy spots, but the motocross track they went to today is actually really huge. So what they did is they just kind of broke, then they have free run of the track on this particular day. It's a deal we worked out with the owner. So they kind of like broke the track into like 4 different quadrants, right? And then they're working on like carrying their speed through the turns, hitting the jumps, everything like that. So basically he's just doing a lot of like drills practice, which is going to be really good for him. And my nephew, who hadn't gotten to ride in a long time, we got him riding again, and he's like, oh, this is so good. And he's still killing it. He's still having like a blast with it. And like, he didn't have to like dust off the cobwebs or anything. He just like, bing, hit it. Got that loud 2-stroke. All right, so what do we have for ambiguities here in our project? Let's see. Some inconsistencies. I don't really care about those. Under spec, let's see. 2 accepted scenarios, missing no operation set error case for function 009 requiring typed errors for all tools. Not worried about that. So add OS to payload summary in data model MD. Yeah, I do want that. Remove the build parameters, included commands from US2 description. Yeah, go ahead and fix those 3 right there with the defaults. We'll call that good. All the schools are closed there tomorrow because you're getting 3 to 6 feet of snow and hailing. Ooh! Oh, yeah. Hold on. It is Ides of March today, isn't it? Dude, didn't March just start? How are we halfway through it already? Okay, so the SCCM servers are still deploying. Let me see how it's looking over here real quick. So they're all up. I don't want to remote into any of the servers until it's kind of done. I wanted to check the CERT server, but that's fine. We can leave that for now. North and South Carolina is closing schools for 40 to 60 mile per hour winds. Dang. That's a lot of wind, Rabid. All right, Oni, have a good night, man. Yeah, that's actually why I stepped away just a second ago. I had to go take my get ready for bed pills, which is really just melatonin and magnesium. All right, we'll let this implement. I can't believe I overlooked the payload handlers in there for the core functionality. I think the next spec we'll probably test out doing is the dynamic loading. So we'll add a, for lack of a better term, a meta function in here, where we'll have all the tools for the various. There'll have to be actually probably a couple of meta functions in there. One for listing like the available plugins, and then another one for loading or unloading plugins. So maybe 3 in there. Because what I want to do is actually try to make it a little bit easier for the non-intelligent agents that are going to be connecting to this. To where, because we have a lot of tools in there, right? So every time we send a tool, it's going to send that entire list, right? But we don't necessarily need all those lists, because if the user's only using Apollo, they don't need to have all the tools available for Arachne and Poseidon and anything else. So I think what I want to do next is we're going to add in a dynamic tool loader where it will go through and it can update those tools in there. Magnesium stops headaches and migraines. Maybe that's why I don't usually get headaches that often. Because I take magnesium, a different type of magnesium. So if you didn't know this, there's different forms of magnesium. There's like magnesium malate, magnesium citrate,
magnesium threonate, I think is that. There's a bunch of them, and they target different areas. Oh, I didn't tell it to implement it. I didn't mean to tell it to implement it yet. Oh, I guess it actually decided to just go ahead and implement it. All right, fine. Okay, cool. So it's building the code right now. But anyway, those different types of magnesium, they affect different parts of your body. So for example, in the morning, I think I take magnesium malate, which is very good for your muscles. But in the evening, it's magnesium glycinate, which helps with relaxation, works on like getting you ready for deep sleep. And then because I've got the studio lights up here, right? The ones casting the shadows, they're super bright in my face. So that is destroying any kind of melatonin production in my brain right now, on top of all the computer screens that are going on here. So to bootstrap that, I take melatonin as well. So that way I'm going to have that kind of base dose there. And it actually works out pretty well. Once the stream is done, it's no more than an hour if I really want to like get down and be in sleep. But typically I'll go read for a while. I'm currently rereading a book that I cannot recommend because it's part of a trilogy, and I have been waiting for the third book to drop for 14 years. Essentially since my first date with Sock. So they're so good, but I cannot recommend them until I know the third book is coming out. Otherwise, you're just going to be pissed off like I am. But it's called The Kingkiller Chronicles. It's by Patrick Rothfuss. The first book, Name of the Wind, absolutely phenomenal. The second book, which is Wise Man's Fears, absolutely phenomenal. The third book is in the ether. I have no idea. So the common joke at my house is I'll go up to Sock and I'll say, "Hey, sweetie, what do you think Patrick Rothfuss is doing right now?" And she'll reply back just in the most deadpan tone that she can muster. "Not writing." It's a really good series. So I'm currently rereading Name of the Wind right now. And so I'm just getting to the part where well, I don't know if I want to give any of it away. I don't know, the book's been out a long time. What's the rule for spoilers in there? I'll tell you what, I'm about 35% of the way through the book. He's from Wisconsin? Man, he's got such a good writing style, too. I love it. Excuse me. Damn it, I'm usually faster on the mute button for that. All right, let's commit this. And then I want to check which Git branch am I on. I should be on the feature branch in here. Oh, there is a new Harry Dresden book out. Yeah, I need to go. Thanks, 57. Yeah, I do need to go get the new Harry Dresden book because I've been waiting for that one as well. I think he started another series, though. Sock was telling me about it because she's a big fan of his. Those are also really cool books. Let's see here. Let's do something real quick. Actually, hold on, before I do that, let's see. What integration tests do we have defined for these tools? So we're currently at 210K of context, so we would have actually gone through and compacted by now. I think, though, however, when it gets to about 30% up here, maybe 33%, I'll go ahead and do a force compact. None of the integration test exercises. Okay. Yeah, let's go ahead and add some. I want to add have it build out integration tests for this. Payload generation. Let's do it. And then what I'm going to do is, after this is done, I'm going to actually restart the MCP server because we've got it where it's actually running the local code here. Then we'll have all the new tools exposed, and then I can have it
go through and clean up all the payloads.
No spoilers, Chris. Don't tell me.
I know that's not a big spoiler because that's actually like really on par for Harry Dresden. Yeah. Let's see. Let's go check on the Ludus lab here. So now it's actually setting up the SCCM site server. So it got the SQL server up and deployed. This is kind of a big lab too, because you got to think we've got, aside from the router, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Hold on, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 7 machines in this lab that are going to be set up. One of them being the workstation. That one's real fast. The dev box here, that's going to be real quick as well because it is. That's just a Debian 12 box, so we should be good there. All right, so once the integration tests are done, let's go give it a whirl. See what it does. What's the other thing that we did? Oh, so Sock and I, we finished watching Eureka, so now we're watching Stargate SG-1 from the very beginning, and it's like 120 episodes. I think we're currently on like episode 15 or something, so we got quite a ways to go. Let's commit that. And I'm going to tell it, push this branch to GitHub. We'll let it go ahead and do all of that stuff in there. There we go. All right, so now let's go restart the MCP server because we're currently running like the local dev one. Let's re-enable that. Ta-da! Okay. Let's see. Let's go ahead and clear the context. Check the Mythic MCP server. Yeah, the one with MacGyver. I know MacGyver wasn't that great of a show, but I still love that show. It was my favorite show as a kid. Okay, let's see. Install the payloads on the Mythic server. Like I remember, like I think one of the very first episodes is he puts like a chunk of magnesium in a jar of water, and like just roughly buries it in sand and puts it next to a wall, and like it explodes and blows a big hole in the wall. I was like, that's not how. And as a kid, I'm like, oh man, that's so cool. And as an adult, I'm like, that's not how magnesium works, bro. That's not what would happen. Or actually, maybe it was. I think it was magnesium. Yeah, like I think it was a chunk of magnesium in a thing of water. Maybe it was sodium. I forget what it was. Some volatile metal. Okay, actually, this is cool. Let's let it do this. Set operation. Found one operation. Root me. Core set operation. Nice. Core list payloads. Boom. There we go. We have a nice list of payloads. Excellent. Excellent. Okay. Let's see. Delete all payloads with underscore test underscore in the name. We'll just let it do this. I want to see exactly roughly what it's going to do. Because like we've got about 80 payloads in here, right? What is that? 85. I don't know why it said roughly 80. It's like, come on, it's like you can add, right? Oh, see, that's exactly what I wanted in here. None of the payload descriptions contain underscore test. The test payloads have descriptions like Apollo test payload. So, hold on, but the name of the payloads that are coming back. Let's see. List the full details from the first payload. me see what it comes back with in here. Yeah. Wait, was Mr. T ever in MacGyver? Alright, so what do we have in here? We have Arachne, Evil to Payload, file name. Oh, okay, so actually it should have been the file name. Looking at this in here. File name. Okay. So let's do. Let's see. Plan out adding a delete payload tool, because we want to be able to go delete those tools out of Mythic once we get that going. A Conan episode where he was Mr. T was picking apples with him. What? Yeah, Mr. T was on the A-Team, another great classic 80s TV show. Good old Mr. T. Did you guys know that Mr. T actually challenged Chuck Norris to a fight? Yeah, it was wild. So Chuck Norris is not one to back down. So they get together and they work out like where they're going to do everything and how it's going to happen. They finally decide that the only safe place for them to have this fight is at the beginning of time. So they go there, and Chuck Norris throws a roundhouse, and Mr. T blocks it with his forearm, and the resulting explosion is now what we call the Big Bang. Let's see. Dude, Chris, I never even realized that... What was his name? Murdoch? Murdoch from the A-Team? What was the character's name? Hold on, now I gotta figure it out. Where's the cast? Howling Mad Murdoch. I never even realized that's Barkley from Next Generation. He did such a good job in Next Generation also. That's crazy. Alright, cool. How's Ludus doing? Still setting up the SCCM server. Like I said, we started this... I don't know what time we started this at. Over an hour ago. So yeah, the deployment's taking a bit. I knew it would. That's usually why I don't do deployments during the stream, because they just take a long time. That's alright. Once it's done, we'll go through and we'll snapshot it too. So if we busted anything, we can just revert to snapshot. Alright, so now we're going to add a new tool over here for deleting payloads. Excellent. Because I want to be able to go clean up this page right here. Last thing I want is like an operator to come in here and be like, there's like 10,000... There's 10,000 of these like firing off in here. We honestly should add that as a... For the payload integration test, we should go add that as a requirement. Go delete the payload when the integration test is done. Wait, Brent Spiner has an album? Like an actual like music album? No way. Brent Spiner Jet.
Dude, you weren't kidding. Old Yellow Eyes is back. Album by Brent Spiner, best known for his role as Data in Next Generation, first released in June 1991. The title is a periodic reference to Frank Sinatra's Old Blue Eyes is Back and his character Data. Spiner is backed by the orchestra from the series as he sings a number of old pop standards, mostly from the 30s and 40s. Oh, that's cool. What's this called? Old Yellow Eyes is Back. Vinyl. Can you buy this? How much does it go for? 40 bucks? Oh, this is a CD though. I want to see if I could actually get like the actual vinyl, because they were still making them back then. They weren't making them as much, but everything had kind of started really moving towards CDs and cassettes at that point. All right, cool. I need to go through, as I was sitting here trying to show you all this, I was like, I need to go clean up all of the... where is it? I thought I took this one out. Oh, Fight Without Fighting? No, I like this one. I'm going to leave this one in. Let's see. Yeah, I was like, I need to go clean up all the notes for HackBot in Notion, because they've gotten kind of scattered. And a lot of this is research from Harvey, who's just dumping it into Notion for me. Like, for example, there was a new thing from this group called Slate, and they started something they call thread weaving. And it's like, okay, that sounded pretty cool. So I had Harvey go through and research it and look at like how they were kind of doing this and how we could work in it. Because HackBot has two primary like architectural design patterns that I want to follow. One is the algorithm from Daniel Miessler for generic problem solving. And then the second one is prompt cache hits. So all of the prompts that we're going to develop should be optimized to try to hit the prompt cache, because it's going to reduce costs for doing the runs as we go through and we hit them. And then on top of that, then basically once you've got that, you've got the foundation of more or less like a generalized AI agent that we're going to specialize it over into penetration testing. Hey, Pack, what's up, man? Dude, if you're not learning, you're not learning, man. It's like, I hope you've learned a lot since we last talked. Keep on learning. Don't worry about learning everything. Just learn a lot. Article about it on The Guardian. Group of hackers hacked into the DHS. Go look at that. Let me see. Chris, if you got a link to it, drop it over in the YouTube chat. Links are allowed. All right, so now let me disable and re-enable the MCP server. And then what I'll have to do is go list all the payloads again. Okay. List all payloads in the Mythic MCP server, or the Mythic server. I started using Cloud Code setup in Docker and set up a NeoCities website for my security takes. Oh, nice.
So working on a GitHub repo with their Tier 1 HD support. Cool. Because I did see, so Chris, I did see one where it says, it was about a week ago, but it was about de-anonymizing certain activities. Let me see. Yeah, Striker. We talked about the Striker hack that happened last week. So we have a bunch of active payloads. Let's see. Yeah, delete all the test payload ones that aren't already deleted. There we go. All right, hold on. I think I found the Guardian article. When is this one from? Actually, yeah, this was from today. Here we go. Let me bring this over here. Oh, that's not the one. Where is it? Hang on. Because I had Grok go find it for me real fast, and then it up and disappeared on me. There it is. Close that. Dude, Grok has kind of become my default search engine because it's so fast and it searches so wide. Hack data from the Department of Homeland Security Technology Incubator shows it funding a variety of companies that would expand surveillance capabilities with artificial intelligence. So this says, Hack's data shines light on Homeland Security's AI surveillance ambitions. Oh, good. More horrors. Okay, so it looks like they didn't hack into DHS. I think they hacked into somebody who has a partnership with DHS. All right, let me go add this to the news list. Oh, by the way, guys, I actually forgot about this. I think this works on YouTube as well. I'm going to try it over there. I think that works. Hang on, let me double check. So what should happen is if you use !news. Oh, it didn't do it. Hang on. Okay, I need to go fix it over on the YouTube side. But and I need to fix it on Kick as well then. But on Twitch right now, if you do !news and you drop in a link, it will go through and it will start adding them to a thread that's up on Discord. Oh, sorry, yes, I realize it burns. We got the Claude rave happening. $50 out of 50 test payloads deleted successfully. Okay. Okay, cool. So these ones remained. Excellent. This is what we should have. Nice. Nice. Okay, cool. So now what do we have? That's not the right one. There we go. Okay. I don't think we have anything that's changed since we... Yeah, it's because that particular browser does not have the dark reader extension guy. I apologize for the flashbang, yo. Let's see. Okay, cool. For this feature branch. Let's double check our integration tests, and then we're going to go ahead and run them as well. Yeah, Chris, thanks for that heads up on that article, because I'll cover it on Wednesday night's news stream.
because I'll get a little bit of a precursor to them, and I will, but then I just to decide if like I want to cover it on the new stream. But then usually like I don't actually read them until Wednesday night because I want to have like a fresh opinion of them as best I can. Sometimes it just you get the information from it. Check payload config, delete payload. Okay. Okay, run those integration tests now. Let's see what happens. There was a Spanish movie where they run into an impromptu rave in the desert. Fixture logs, but never sets the current operations. Oh, okay. Yeah. Because those payloads, what it's complaining about right here is, let's see if I can find it. If I come back here, or maybe just go back to the dashboard up here. It doesn't show it. I forgot where you actually set your operation. Because our current op is the root me op. We should actually go do that real quick. Let's go. I believe it's in settings. Actually, I may need to log in as the Mythic admin to do that. Hang on. Let's see. I gotta go dig out the password real fast. Actually, hold on. The password should be over here. CD to Mythic. No? And then, let's see, rep for admin from the env file. There it is. Let me grab this password real quick. That looks incorrect. Oh, I know why. There we go. Now I got it. Okay. Now where is... Yes, this is root me. Where's my operations at? I don't ever... So the quick background for anybody who doesn't know. In Mythic, you can have multiple operations. So if you had like a single C2 server spun up and let's say you're working at a consultancy and you've got multiple clients, or even you're an in-house red teamer and you've got different environments and you want to segregate those environments by different operations in Mythic, you can. In fact, that's the default behavior. But whenever I'm working, I always set up a brand new Mythic server every time. So I don't ever have to go mess with how to set up a new operation. I don't remember what to do. Operation dashboard. Here we go. No, this is just root me. Where's the... Ah, here we go. It's kind of buried in here. Super secret test operation. There we go. Current operation is root me. Okay, good. So refresh this. So now you see we've got this new one right here, super secret test operation. So if I come over to this one and I make that the current, and then we go look at the payloads, notice how there's nothing in here. Everything that kind of happens, it gets bucketed by the operation that's in there. So if I come back down here, say root me, make that one the current, and then come over to payloads, you see now I've got payloads that are specific to that operation. So you can do multi-op systems with Mythic, but typically that's not the way in practical purposes, that's not the way I do it at work. Whenever I'm working on something, it's brand new infra from the ground up for each client. Let's see. API token is not expired. That should definitely not be expired. Let me No, that's not the right. What is the password? Password 1234. There we go. Here's our MCP bot. Definitely not an admin. That should be the key that we're currently using. Or was it rootme bot? I don't remember which one we were using. Okay, let's see what happens here. Turn my mouse back on so I have convenient scrolling. Let's see. Tester correctly skipped with failed to set operation since the token is expired and logins fail. The token's not expired. The MCP server's connected. We go look at this real quick. Let's see. CD, I think it's in test. Yeah, let's see. Integration tests. Where's our config YAML? Oh, I don't have DeoVim on here. Let's see, what is going on? All right, fine. We'll just do it this way. Those credentials should not have expired. You know, I've never looked at Google's Threat Horizon report. Let me look at that. Usually we don't have any problem with... Is it that's the yearly report, isn't it? Actually, yeah, we did look at that one. Or actually, I didn't cover it in depth on the stream. I think we took a brief look at it on Wednesday. So what was going on here? Let me log back in as the admin. Bot accounts cannot log in. They can be assigned to an operation to perform actions as part of workflows. Is that what we did? Or did we use Stinger? I don't remember which one we did. I'm trying to remember what I used for... I think I used that Stinger account for it. Let's go back over here real quick. When did the API token expire? Because that one should have been long-lived, if I remember correctly. Which file did it pull it at? Expired about 7 weeks ago? No. No. I think you're using the wrong config. Because if it says config YAML, I don't think that's correct. Yeah. Hold on. Let's do this real quick. Let's see. Head 13 big YAML. No, that's not going to work. Damn it. Let me copy this real fast here. We'll do this scrub tier. Where is it? Here we go. Let's see. Cyber Chef. Where's that? Let me drop that in there, and then from base 64. I guess that one was a really short-lived API token. User ID 1. Who's that user? Let me go double check that. This doesn't show me who the user ID is. So actually something really cool that Cody, the guy who wrote Mythic, showed me is we can actually come over to the Hasura console here. Sorry, flashbang. It's gonna happen. And we can actually log into that from come on. Here we go. Let me grab this real quick. We can actually log in and just browse the entire database in here. Settings. Is there a dark mode? Hasura, I knew you were a fed op. Alright, so we come over to data right here. Go down to public. We look at the operators in here. So it said we're using where was that? Down here, user ID 1. Oh, are we really using user ID 1? That's the Mythic admin. Oh, that is suboptimal. That is very suboptimal. Hey, Poppin', what's up, man? What's shaking? Let's see. Okay, so that was absolutely not correct. Who doesn't have, in 2026, who doesn't have dark mode by default? Feds. Feds don't have dark mode. My statement still stands. Feds. Which is everybody in the chat, by the way. If you didn't know that, congratulations. If you're in chat, you're automatically a Fed. Who's his name? Let me try something real quick. Test bot. That's how we can configure those. Okay, we delete test bot. I don't remember, did I make a... I'm trying to remember. There's Stinger. How do I get his API key now? Yeah, that one was made a while ago for MCP testing. All right. I'll leave it active for now. Let's make a new one here. MCP testing 2. Wait, hold on. I can just copy it. I didn't need to make a new one. Copy that to the clipboard. There we go. Let's go drop that in real quick. Oh, wait. You know what? I think we had to do it as the Mythic admin. Come to think of it, because of some of the permissions it needed. I know. We'll try it. All right. Now we'll have it try the integration test again. See. We'll let this run for just a second. So what it should do is, I think it should make like a test payload, list them out, right? Basically all the different tools that we've got, actually make sure they're coming back fine. Okay, you're obviously not running. Run the payload integration test. So there's 2 series of works that explain logic in full, but no, they're a year 9 uni each page. Could be its own PhD. Are you okay going through some of that? It's kind of dense. Unfortunately, we're just about out of time. I got to wrap up the stream here in about 10 minutes. But, Poppin, if you want to hop over into Discord and drop them in there, if I get a chance, I'll take a look at it. What is going on here? 16 tests skipped. These should all run fine. He's like, oh, the Mythic server is not live. I was like, the hell it's not. Did you hard code something in there? Are you not using the config YAML? What's going on? Just do ! Discord, Pop, and it'll drop it in there for you. There you go. Failed to set operation none type value type. Okay. I guess we need to go through and in the config actually set the operation. All right, we'll let it go through and we'll let it troubleshoot this real quick. What is that syntax? Look at that weird, like, extra space it threw in there. That's wild. I'm hoping we could just get through the integration test for this tonight and... Okay, cool. So it looks like the lab is still deploying, but it looks like it's finally moved on from setting up from setting up the SCCM server. So cool, because eventually what we're going to do is we're going to go set all this stuff up over there, and we're going to let it go ham on it and see what it can do. We'll probably have to give it some extra tools over there. Some creature comforts. Let's see. There we go. It's cooking now. Once we know that the integration tests are actually working, we'll actually tell it, hey, you want to go run this in a sub agent. So I think we could do tasks. No, that's not it. There we go. So there was an issue with the query, and the configuration test lacked an operation name. The Mythic library requires named for queries. Okay, cool. Admit that. Let me go look at something over here. Seeing our payloads. Where's our event, actual like event logs in here? Let's see. Payloads. It should also show us our deleted. Hey, there we go. So it actually did go through, and for Apollo, it did this one right here. Where's the data on this though? Where's our metadata? So this was created right now, 10:51 p.m. Central Time, which is the exact time it should be. Oh yeah. Awesome. Excellent. Excellent. All right, so we committed that, and let's see. Yep, push and open to PR. Excellent. Yeah. Well, Chris, it's because the reason why everybody's trying to get their assistance and their intel is because they have the most experience with against drone warfare, which is now what the U.S. is coming across over in the Iran theater. So, interesting turn of events that I didn't expect. That's also not my area of expertise, but I do like to look at it from afar. Russia has had Telegram blocked for the last 2 weeks because there's rumors of a coup. Ooh. Interesting. All right, let's go look at this real quick. Mythic, MCP. There we go. So we should have one PR here. We've got 2. Arachne full coverage. Didn't we already PR that one? I want to look at all the PRs in here. Okay, I'll take a look at that in just a second. Core payload tools. Was that why? Hold on. Damn it, now I gotta check that real quick. What branch was that? Hold on. What was the commit from 2 weeks ago? Oh, I don't think we did. Let's see. What was this branch called? Let's see. Come on. There we go. I don't think it was. That was PR6. Wait, was it? Oh, okay, it was. Okay, we PR'd it, but we never deleted that branch. Hold on. Because this says there's a difference between these two. This branch is 2 commits behind master. Oh, okay. I think I just didn't clean up the branch, and that's why it's there. All right, cool. All right, yep, go ahead and merge. There we go. Yeah, I didn't have it delete the branch. That's what happened. Okay. Let's see. Branches merged, pulled, new data. Do that. Check the Discord. All right. Oh, Principia Mathematica? Oh, yeah, dude. That is a dense volume. That's, who's... Yeah, that was from Whitehead and Russell. Yeah. Those are old books, too. I mean, but at the same time, they're core foundational ones. That's actually really modern when you think about it, like, in terms of math. Yeah, kind of crazy. Okay, unfortunately, guys, that's where I got to wrap up for tonight. So, cool. We've got the payload tools ready. They're actually able to go through and manipulate all the various payloads we've got in there. More I look at the TMUX basic line, the more I dislike it. I used to actually use like a really fancy custom configuration TMUX, AK. However, I work on so many different machines that it got to be annoying forgetting like how I customized everything. And I just went back to vanilla TMUX. Even though I know I could do some really cool stuff with it, I kept forgetting like what was the appropriate key binding or how to do certain things when I had like all my helpers all customized. So if I was working on a single computer, I would totally do that. Let's see. All right. Cool. So that's good. The Ludus Lab. Hey! Ah. What happened on the site server? Computer site server's not responding? Hold on. All right, hold on. Bro, before we wrap it up, let me go see if I can get into the sites, the cert server real fast. Yeah, it's coming up. Oh, you know what? I think I know what the problem is. Hang on. Let's look at something real quick over in Ludus. Let me bust out of this. Let's do... Here's the cert server. Yeah, I didn't add this role to it, I think. Dang it. Yeah, I didn't. No, wait, that's not the role it should need. Hold on. Where's the workstation? Where is it? I know the workstation's in here. Oh, it's Capital Workstation. There we go. Hold on. Yeah, that should have been fine. Weird. I wonder why it failed on that. That's all right. Because one of the things we can actually do is just tell it to deploy again. Sometimes, though, these Ansible roles, they're fairly robust, but they do have errors sometimes, so you can just do it in there. I like vanilla Tmux, but I hate the control B and always make it control X to save my thumb. Yeah. I understand. I think I actually at one point had it changed to like control A to match screen, because screen was what I used before Tmux. But after using Tmux, like I never go back to screen. All right. Let's go see who we've got online that we can go raid out to. Actually, hold on. I gotta remember the most important thing first. Getting ahead of myself. We need to go check InfoSec streams. Slyborg is on. Perfect. All right. We'll go right over to Slyborg. Yep. Awesome. Get that started. All right, guys. Unfortunately, that's where I've got to wrap it up for tonight. Where's the button? There's the button. I will catch you all on Wednesday. I appreciate y'all coming to hang out while we did a little bit of lab maintenance and buffing up the MCP server. I think we've just about got it to a good stable spot. And that's all I got for you guys. Tomorrow's crushing it mode. Get ready to activate it. It goes hard. It goes heavy. We do not go weekly into the week. We go crushing it into the week. And I want you all to have a fantastic week. I will catch you all on Wednesday for the news stream. We got some cool stories rolling in. So we'll check those out. And when you get over to Slyborg stream over on the Twitch side, do me a favor, drop a bunch of happy hackers in there. And that's all I got for you guys. Y'all have a fantastic week. I will catch up with you soon. And remember one very important thing, and that is, I love you. Peace.